What is up there, everybody? Citrus Aviation here with another video, and today we have Aviation News This Week, episode number 90. We have a ton of news to cover as I haven't done one of these in a few weeks, so let's get started with Alaska Airlines joining the One World Alliance. This occurred on March the 31st, 2021. Alaska Airlines officially joined the One World Alliance. Now it's interesting that even a couple weeks before this occurred, Alaska's already putting the One World logo, as you can see right there, behind the cockpit window on some of their aircraft. But Alaska joined the One World Alliance and they had a big celebration with it, including the unveiling of their new One World Special Livery aircraft, which is this one right here, November 4, 87 Alpha Sierra, photographed by Brandon Farris on the 31st of March 2021. All photos used by the photographers will be linked down below, and I would like to thank each and every photographer personally for allowing me to use their photos for this show. As part of Alaska Airlines joining the One World Alliance, Seattle will be becoming a more major international gateway. And there'll be quite a few routes starting up, including this one that already started up. And this is the Qatar Airways 3 times weekly service to Doha. This started on January 29th, 2021 and will be expanding from the 3 times weekly to once daily starting July the 1st. And the route is on the Boeing 777-300ER. This photo is also taken by Brandon Farris, and the very first aircraft to operate the route was a Qatar Airways 777-300ER registered as Alpha 7-Bravo Echo Golf. Really cool to see Qatar Airways arriving. American Airlines will also be arriving with international services coming in the near future, as well as the One World Alliance hopes to strengthen their hold on the Seattle market. The Northwest region of the United States is really something that the One World Alliance really has not had any market at all in, and really cool and happy to see that Alaska Airlines has joined the group. The other major headline news for this week's episode is that Avelo has started operations. They are a brand new mainline airline that serves the state of California and does secondary routes. The very first aircraft is November 802 X-Ray Tango, which is a former Turkish Airlines Boeing 737-8F2, now operated by Avelo. They have acquired several former Turkish Airlines 737-800s. And this picture was taken on April 28, 2021. This picture was taken as Avelo is returning on their very first return flight ever back to Burbank. The aircraft departed Burbank and went to Sonoma County and then returned back, seen with this picture right here. Avelo is doing services to secondary airports. So Burbank is a secondary airport in the Los Angeles area, and Sonoma County, I believe, is a secondary airport somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere else, California. They are operating out of less expensive airports to operate out of, like of John Wayne County, Orange County Airport, as well as several others they'll be operating out of, and I think this could be a very successful marketing strategy. The airline is choosing to operate out of less expensive airports to operate, therefore reducing the operating cost and allowing them to compete with other major airlines by operating with lower fares. And I think this is going to be something that could be very competitive, and I'd really like to see how they do, because they're certainly doing a somewhat Southwest Airlines model, and I think it could be very successful, and I'm really excited to see where the airline goes from here. Fleet news, we have several interesting fleet items, and here we have the Qantas Post A321. This is the world's first A321 cargo aircraft registered as Victor Hotel-Uniform Lima Delta. The aircraft started operations in October 2020, and we have some photos of it here. I want to thank the photographer once again for generously sending me these photos. He actually sent me an entire Google Drive of several different photos I could use. So thank you very much. This is the first cargo A321 ever. These are considered to be P2Fs, which is passenger to freighter converted aircraft. And it's really cool to see this aircraft. There's also, I believe, one for Titan Airways now, which I'll hope to cover in the near future. And so if you're in Australia and you want to spot the world's first A321 cargo aircraft, it does fly around several different cities. This one in particular was taken at Melbourne, and they're really interested to see if any other airlines buy the A321 cargo. The very last 777LR passenger variant aircraft has been built. It will be going to Turkmenistan Airways. This picture was taken on the 3rd of March 2021, registered with the US test registration of November 55061. It'll be interesting to see where the 777-200 LRs operate, maybe to the US, could probably see these flying to JFK or London Heathrow or something like that. But it's interesting, these are the last 777-200 LRs. The 200 LR didn't really sell super well as a commercial airliner. However, this aircraft has had great success selling as a freighter, with airlines having tons of back orders for these. There's a couple hundred of these on back order going to airlines like FedEx, Korean Air Cargo, Airbridge Cargo, and many others. I think the aircraft has been very successful with that role as it has an extremely long range. However, a lot of airlines haven't found the 777 passenger variant to be extremely attractive for that purpose, with a lot of airlines opting for the A350 or Boeing 787 instead. But it's a really cool aircraft, and this will be the last passenger variant of this aircraft ever built. Eurowings has a special new livery here. This one is fueled by the world's greatest team. This appears to be an employee appreciation aircraft, which I always like it when companies do an employee appreciation aircraft or something to celebrate their employees who work very hard every single day. This is a great picture here, taken on March the 5th, 2021. It's a really cool aircraft. It came out, I believe, in like late February, early March 2021. I haven't had a chance to cover it till now, but it's a really cool aircraft. The Trans-Canada Airlines Special Retro Livery is now in service with Air Canada, and you can see it flying around at your local airport anywhere that has Air Canada A220s flying. The aircraft is registered as Charlie-Golf November Bravo November. I would like to thank Brian Losito, the official Air Canada corporate photographer, for sending these photos over to include in the show. Here we have some pictures on March the 26th taken at Montreal, doing some customer appearance flights. This is how the aircraft will look like if you go and spot it. I think it looks super cool. I really like the almost all white wings. That looks super cool, and it makes the wings really stand out from that kind of medium dark gray livery. This is a really cool aircraft, and I would love to spot sometime, but excellent photos by Brian, and thank you so much for sending them in for the show. Next up, Alaska Airlines has a new diversity livery. This aircraft is intended to celebrate the diversity of the airline and some of their African American individuals. And they have partnered with UNCF, which provides opportunities to young African Americans, particularly with education. This is a cool livery, and the aircraft flew its first flight from Seattle to Reagan National Airport, and here you can see a photo of it coming into Reagan National Airport. This is a pretty cool livery, and I am possibly thinking of doing an extra special video on this aircraft. Stay tuned for that. Singapore Airlines has finally received their first 737 MAX 8. I think this aircraft came out of the paint shop about 6 months ago, but it hasn't done too much, but now it's been seen here at Singapore Changi International Airport. Aircraft is registered as 9 Victor-Mike Bravo Alpha, and it will probably be seen flying here in the near future. This picture was taken on the 28th of April 2021, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it in operations, and it will be a really cool addition to the Singapore fleet. You might be wondering why Singapore all of a sudden is getting 737 MAX 8 and 737 800s. Now these are former Silk Airways aircraft, which Singapore Airlines has decided to absorb the Silk Airways brand and just operate under Singapore. So if you ever see Singapore 737s flying around, you wonder where they came from, that's where they came from, and many of them will be operating the former Silk Airways routes. So that is it for fleet news. We do have some route news, and for that I would like to bring on AS Aviation to talk about the new Northeast alliance between American Airlines and JetBlue.
Thank you for having me on, Citrus. So American and JetBlue have recently launched their so-called Northeast Alliance a few months back, in which these two airlines will be benefiting off of code shares with each other on various routes from the region. The two airlines already had quite a few routes coming out of the expansion, which were announced a few months back. However, just earlier this week, more routes were announced from both airlines. American is launching 6 routes, 3 from Boston and 3 from New York LaGuardia. From Boston, they'll be launching flights to Cincinnati, Ohio, St. Louis, Missouri, and Toronto, Canada, while from New York LaGuardia, they'll be launching flights to Houston, George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Texas, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Omaha, Nebraska. All of these routes, they'll be using the Embraer 175, except for the Boston, St. Louis, and LaGuardia, Houston flights Those two routes will be using the Airbus A319s. I believe those will be the legacy US configuration A319s, not the legacy American ones with sharklets. American is also adding some international destinations from JFK, namely Athens, Greece, and New Delhi, India. Now, Athens is a pretty hyped up one, considering Greece is one of 3 European countries that have opened up to vaccinated Americans this summer. Croatia, Iceland, and Greece, all 3 countries opened up to vaccinated Americans for travel this summer. So as such, the New York-Athens route, can you believe it, is actually a very, very competitive route for this summer, because United is going to be doing Newark to Athens flight this summer. Newly announced, they actually announced that last week. American is now doing JFK to Athens, and Delta actually just today announced JFK to Athens as well. So all 3 US legacy carriers are going to be competing with each other on the New York to Athens route, which is really, really interesting. And then the New Delhi route from JFK is also very hyped up. It's going to be a 3 times weekly service on the 777-200ER starting October 31st. And this will be the first time since 2012 where American is going to be flying to Delhi. They used to fly from Chicago to Delhi nonstop, 777, but they stopped doing that flight in 2012 because the flight was pretty expensive to operate, and also they had a lot of increased competition with Middle Eastern carriers because they were just at that time getting much more popular. So American cut it back in 2012, but now they are restarting it in October, and they'll also be doing Seattle to Bengaluru, India, which is supposed to start soon as well. It was supposed to start last year, I think, but because of the pandemic, they had to postpone it. So American has 2 upcoming routes to India, Seattle, Bengaluru, and Chicago to Delhi. On the other hand, to JetBlue, they have a much bigger expansion coming up. JetBlue has, I believe, 17 new routes, and some of those will begin later this year. Others won't start until next year. So from Boston, JetBlue is going to be starting flights to domestic cities like San Antonio, Texas, Kansas City, Missouri, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Asheville, North Carolina. From JFK, New York, some of their domestic destinations, they'll be just Kansas City and Milwaukee. And from New York, LaGuardia, they'll be starting flights to Jacksonville, Florida, Sarasota, Florida, Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, Louisiana, Nashville, Tennessee, and Portland, Maine. And JetBlue also has some international routes coming up, and these will be completely brand new. From JFK, starting December 2021, they'll be flying to the country of Honduras for the first time, with flights from JFK to San Pedro Sula. And from both JFK and Boston, they'll begin flights across the border to Canada for the first time ever. Flights from both JFK and Boston to Vancouver beginning in summer 2022. It's still a whole year away because, summer of 2022, whole year away, but definitely a moment to be excited for the airline. A really awesome step. It'll be their first time flying to Canada, like I mentioned. And then finally, JetBlue is launching another cross-border route, this time from JFK to Mexico, more specifically Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Not their first flight to Mexico. JetBlue currently serves JFK Cancun and I believe some other flights to Mexico, but they are not coming to Mexico for the first time. JFK Puerto Vallarta is just another route. I think their second route to Mexico. I could definitely be wrong on that, but that route is supposed to start in the first quarter of 2022. So a few months left to go for that one. But that's basically it. Both airlines are definitely set to benefit from these new routes, and I'm really, really eager to see how this new Northeast Alliance will continue performing for both airlines. But that's really all I have for now regarding this news. Thank you so much. Back to you, Citrus.
Thank you so much, AS Aviation, for coming on for the show. It was my pleasure to have you on the show. And with that being said, we have some channel news. The last month or so, from late March to late April, has been so far the best month in channel history in terms of interaction. I'll just put up a little graph here that YouTube gives you. 28.4k views in a 1 month period, 2.3k watch hours, and plus 176 subscribers. That's pretty impressive. And most of that was fueled by this video right here. The top 10 airlines to go bankrupt in 2021. That video got 19,000 views inside of 1 month, which is crazy. Particularly for my channel. I'm sorry, maybe in the future, maybe that won't be so crazy, but I really do appreciate all the support and all the interaction that video has gotten. A ton of people have found my channel from that video, and I hope that this channel provides you with interesting and entertaining content. We cover all things aviation, such as this aviation news episode. We do model aviation stuff, plane spotting, and I'll be doing more top 10 videos as well, because those seem to do really well. Also, that being said, I have a new series that will be coming out on the channel very soon. It'll be a fleet overview for every single airline. I'll be starting to do that with probably Delta Airlines first. Delta or Southwest I'll do first. And then we'll do yearly updates every single year on the current fleet status for every airline that I want to cover. So leave your suggestions down below for which airlines you would like me to cover in future episodes, because I would really love to do this series and make it to be a big thing. And with that being said, that is most of what we do have. I do have some surprises coming soon for you guys. I think you will really enjoy them. So that is it though. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless you.